Man, look at that. This stuff right here takes some getting used to. Um, yeah, I'm hoping that need somebody to give me some feedback because I'm thinking I think the mic is working, but I need to hear how is it working. Because on my first official live there, he told me about it and said that it said, the sound quality, of course, me being outside, all that stuff understood. It's kind of hard to hear sometimes, especially said his tractor was going by and all that. So uh chose to buy the mic, did me a little research on it, and that cost me like $50. Yeah, tested out, did the old Google. That's how we do research. It's Google, and then okay, dirty, got you. Appreciate you, bro. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so glad to hear that. Like I said, I listened to you, DB. You know what I'm saying? Did that thing, ran me $50. Well, YouTubed it. You know what I'm saying? Just a little quick look deal. They was like, it's pretty rather simple and all that. And I just hooked it up and gave it a shot. Yeah, and I was just talking about I wasn't talking about I wasn't officially live, D. But I was want to say, you told me about that. And also I was gonna be going live with DB, but the times, man, you know what I mean? But man, had to get a little rest in this thing. What's up? Oh man. Yeah, I actually was finna text you a while ago, Sage, because I wanted to I'm gonna see though. I want to just kind of give an update first, but I want to touch in on you because that video I did, the 2 videos ago about particular investment stuff like that, and I was mad. I was at the time, I was mad at the broker because of what he said to me on the phone call and what was in the actual descriptions on the load board. And but anyway, I wanted to just holler at you because I put in the video that I felt like I was wrong. You know what I mean? Like that was on me because of the rate confirmation. But I want to get with you on that to to see what was happening, just to get your thoughts on it, man, and educate all of us. Another thing I want to get with you too. Actually, Sage, I want to know if you could just jump on in a little while. What's up, Cooley, man? What's happening, bro? Man, I was just thinking about you this morning. I saw you had made a post that you hired again, my man. Love it, man. And say you I think it was July and August that you looking to hire somebody. But yeah, Sage, it was also on to talk about. I seen what's her name? She done changed Skim D. Skim D put a post up that I haven't actually ran into all this time I've been out here. My truck is broken down, but the customers I've been running with haven't made an issue out of it. But her question was, you have your own authority, your truck break down, and it's got to go to the shop. How do it work on the recovery side? And that's something I'm like, dang, that's a good question. I didn't say anything because I really didn't know. Like, what's the expectations with the broker and how that stuff go, how it's working? Yes, sir, it is. Yeah, it is. Let me see. Cool. Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm laughing at this right here. That's right. I have a smartphone too, man. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, I ain't in Virginia though. You know what I'm saying? I can't make it up to Virginia, man. But I'm with DB, cool. I got a smartphone as well. You hear me? But yeah, to give an update though, I did record a video yesterday on my Get Lean with Lean. I was down 5 pounds over the week. This video coming up, I'm gonna release, I believe, on Wednesday. I showed more of the meal prep, you know what I'm saying, side of it. So got the meals, mixed in, some ground turkey. Yes, you do. Some ground turkey in it, some chicken breast. What's up in there? Some rice. I mean, it's a lot of good old black beans, but I'll talk about it though. You know what I mean? But yeah, the week went well. I didn't get to the gym as much as I like, such as life out here. Actually, I wanted to go today. I had to choose between mustering up and going today in the gym because I count the week starting on Sunday. I went yesterday, didn't make it. I decided I'm gonna go ahead and go tomorrow. I didn't make it though. Yeah, that's sometimes that's what happens with the work thing. Man, I woke up, I ain't actually have any obligations as far as work today. And I even checked the load board. I checked on my customers first. They she said she was a little behind. She should have something coming up. I checked the load board, didn't really see nothing. And so I went out, ran a few errands, did that, came back. I was about to eat. And then cook me something to eat. Just some little small. And then that's when the load came up. Customer hit me up and I had to go do that. Oh, y'all, let me check this out real quick. Okay. And yeah, so I had to go pick up that load, and that load just threw me all off, man. I was sitting out there for 3 hours. Dude, check this out. I know y'all know about this, but it's a little different. So with the flatbed, as y'all know, you got to be outside, right? So dude came. I'm sorry, he didn't come. It started raining out here today. It started raining, pouring down raining. Dude took off on me. Dude went in hot, hid up in the warehouse. And that's the thing that I don't like. I enjoy doing flatbed. It's not that I know some people feel like it's a lot of work. I guess it depends how much tarping you doing, all that. For those of you who don't know, I don't do myself. I don't do tarping. I usually don't put myself in a position to because I kind of relatively stay, local and may do overnight run. But yeah, the downside of it, when it rains, sometimes these dudes don't want to work. They go, even though they got these rain suits on and everything, they go duck off in the back in the warehouse until it slow down enough, where with these other ones drive in and reef and all that, they in the warehouse. They ain't really caring about all that, whether or not really being affected at all. So yeah, if you still in the stage, I'm maybe have to text you, man. I'm gonna have to figure out I did want to ask you about that. Let me just text you, bro. Let me text you. Ask you about the broker stuff. Man, what's up, tourist trucker, man? I love what you're doing over there. I appreciate you getting back with me on that on that GoPro thing. I'm gonna need to holler at you about that. I'm probably gonna need to just call you and chop it up with you because I never used it. Don't know anything about the GoPro. Trying to get a real good understanding of it. Well, not of it, but how to use it because I got a MacBook. Yeah, MacBook Air. And I don't know if it's any different or nothing like that. So I definitely need to get with you on that. But yeah, I've been enjoying y'all. Another thing I want to say, guys, I want to try to go live on trying to pick a day. But my only 2 days I can really pick is gonna be Saturday and Sunday. Because during the week, just like today, I have no set schedule. It's sporadic. I'm constantly like it's a bunch of moving parts on the go. Like technically, I'm supposed to be trying to get a load cover right now, but because of the time of day and out here, and I had already started this video, I'm like, okay, screw it. But yeah, so during the week get a little hectic for me. Well, actually, it's usually hectic. I'm looking for Sunday. I'm gonna try to go probably Sunday evening, and try to make it some consistent. Let me text Sage real quick. See if I can get I want to clear this stuff up. I think these are some good questions. Let me see. Can you? All right. And what's up, David? What's happening, man? What's going on? Which is good to see you guys in here. All of you. It's good to see y'all in here. And yeah, I'm still staying true to form. All right. Got in the water. I'm gonna go on and knock that out. Finish the rest of it. Might I add this weekend though? I want eating the best now. We had watched a little fight this weekend. Saturday night boxing fight, very entertaining fight, very controversial ending. Yeah, I watched that. I checked that out. Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna jump on. All right. But yeah, very entertaining fight. But yeah, this weekend on Friday, I dipped out. I didn't work Friday, so I dipped out. Went to a little restaurant. What's up, KJ, man? All is well, man. It's going good. I got to get my butt up early in the morning, though. Go to work. I don't think I did today. We're just preloaded. How you doing out there, man? How's it going? But yeah, Friday, I wasn't really on. You know what I'm saying? I had some queso, chips and queso, a little salsa. Had had some enchiladas on Saturday. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I ate good. You know what I mean? I ate good. Sent the link. Man, how do I do the link, man? I don't know how to do the link. Help me. Let me see. Where can I do the link? You probably need to call me. I'm looking over here. Is it over here? Let me see what this is. Nope. Share. Is it gonna be it? No, share screen. No, that's probably not it. Help me out. So I can send a link. We need to chop this up, man. Invite. Oh, there we go. Oh, I feel like that should have been simple. All right. Dang. I feel like that should have been simple, my man. All right, there you go. There we go. Excuse me. Let's get Sage up in here, man. I want to ask some of these questions on the broker side. Is that link good, Sage? Is that all I had to do, or should I do it a different way? All right. I think that was good.
Yeah, I think that worked.
It worked, man. What's happening with you, man?
How's it going, brother?
I don't got it like fancy like you do, though, but it's all good.
He's like, jump in. I'm like, I can't. Where's the link?
Man, it was funny, man, because I'm like, I don't know where it's at. And then you was like, invite. Well, you know what I mean? It's like,
I'll get it all straightened out.
I don't know what I was looking for. Hold on, let me see. I'm trying to still trying to figure out my lives. Man, the one I saw, I think the one you did last night, tourism. You sound like you knew what you was doing, man. I mean, you guys are YouTubers. Nah, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean? Just kidding. But nah, y'all doing a great job with it. Yeah, okay. I want to go to the back to my video a couple of videos ago when I was upstairs with the broker. Okay, so just to refresh for people who ain't seen it. So what happened was, I looked on the load board, truck stop, looked on them, seen a load. There was nothing in the description, right?
Yeah.
So I called them up. And they said, I say, I'm looking for what was the logo? Tyler to Dallas. I'm looking for the load. He told me what it was. The only thing he said was, it was, they were trash cans, like actually big trash cans. But I forgot what he said, what he called them. That don't matter. He just said that you can't have a headboard on your trailer. I said, cool. Mm-hmm. I don't got a headboard.
I did watch your just so you know, I did watch your video, so we're refreshing for everybody else. I know what the ending is, so go ahead. Just so you know, go ahead.
Yeah, I actually do know because you commented on it. Right. But that was just refreshing for everybody. So that happened, and then obviously I get there to fast forward. You go watch the video and see the little stuff in between.
Yeah,
they said they needed 53. The customer was expecting the 53. All that. I called them on site, and they saying, well, it says on the rate confirmation it was a 53. Lo and behold, look at the rate confirmation, which I always do. I don't know what happened on this one. They had kind of hidden though, right? And the rate confirmation said it must be a 53. So I figured at that point, just from a business perspective, been doing this long enough, I said, okay, I'm going to take that L because it said on the rate confirmation, which that's the part that matter, all the verbal don't matter, but I'm going to ask you. Go for it.
Yeah, that rate confirmation is your written contract in regards to you receiving that information. And that's why it's very important that you read it over. Now, every broker should absolutely verify that it's a 53 verbally to double check themselves, to not set themselves up for failure. But when they don't, and then you get the sheet and you don't check, technically that's on you for not properly checking that rate con. It's also on him because, again, his job is my job is making sure it's 53. I double, triple check. Is this a 53? Are you a 53? Are you a 53? Like I said, technically it's on that rate con as a 53. They've got you because it was on that rate con. And it's your job to read that contract. So on that one, he got you. Did you get a truck order not used at all or no?
Of course not.
Of course not.
What they did the standard, he said he was going to call the customer, see what he can do, but no promises. But he just never got back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could have been a simple, hey, sorry, I did what I could, whatever you're going to say. You know what I mean?
It's tough, too, because, like I said, going forward, you might want to say, hey, I'm a 48. You know what I mean? Or something like that. Just verify the equipment that's required. But usually, do they give you a phone number for the shipper or receiver or anything when you get your rate cons?
You mean on a normal basis?
Yeah.
It just depends. Most of the time it's on there, but it's not every time.
Okay. A lot of times if it's on there, normally what I also, because I always give it, I mean, I know my shipper, but the receiver, I normally have you and say, hey, here's the numbers for the shipper and receiver. Just call them, let them know you're coming in. And that's one you can also say, hey, I'm a 48, flatbed coming in. Just want to verify that that's proper equipment to come in too, stuff like that. So when you get that rate con, you just have to understand that, this is your business. This is your rate confirmation sheet from the broker to do this. And I know it's not what you want to hear, but it is that rate con is what you really have to check over. And you should, because there's a lot of brokers that'll slide stuff into that rate con that they're not going to tell you on the phone. There's times that I know a broker that didn't tell the driver on the phone that it had like 17 stops or 16 stops or something. And he gets the sheet and it's like 4 rate cons or 3 rate cons. He's like, whoa, what happened here? And the actual thing was, he didn't tell the guy that. So it happens all the time. So you want to check that.
Well, yeah, see, the only thing that, again, I took the L, right? I said it was on me.
Yeah.
But the only problem I really had with it after that was 53 in the flatbed side is more of a
specialty equipment.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that got me, because it's not like if it was a 48 and I had a 40. Because I know there are some 40s, very few of them, but there are some 40s.
45s are common.
Right.
45s are smaller trailers, but 53, that's why technically a 48 your standard, a 53 is specialized. So the broker should be saying, hey, I'm requiring a 53. Do you have that? Because that's a specialized piece of equipment. Normally they're 48s. Small, like I said, in the small size is 45s. I haven't seen 40s except for hot shots. And then there has been a time where I've put it out there for 40 foot. The driver said he had a 48 foot flatbed, and I put it out for 40 foot, and he showed up with a hot shot. And so it does happen with the other way around too. You know what I'm saying? So you put it the other way. So, but it's kind of, you have to read that sheet and make sure.
Right. And that's all I was saying, was that usually when you're doing some specialized,
right,
they're going to ask you on the phone. Like, we're not going to, like, he did it as if it was a 48. Like, to me, honestly, this is what I felt what happened. I feel like I ran into a broker who just, I'm not going to use thorough. We just wasn't experienced. Right. That's just me.
Ran into basically the cashier and a thing. And that's how it works. Right. A lot of these brokers are just, the people that you're talking to are the cashiers. They're just the dispatchers. I'm going to actually have a guy coming on soon that he works at one of these, and he's going to tell us exactly what the formula is. And they'll just pull people off the street and say, here, cold call. You know what I mean? Here, dispatch. Here, get this. So with very little training. So you're actually not talking to the broker at that point. Whoever this was, you're actually just talking to a customer service or just somebody on the phone that may or may not even have anything to do with other than, give this price, give this price. Don't go higher than this. You know what I mean? This price. And that's their only job.
Huh. Okay, I'm going to get to the next one.
Okay. All right. Fire away.
Okay, the next one was, like I said, we'll go ahead and repeat it. Skim D had made a community post because I believe she's leasing with VL. I think so. But she was asking from a owner authority standpoint. So guy got his own authority. I'm going to just say me. Just use me and you. I got my own authority. You put me on the load. A truck breakdown. Get a tow truck, take me to the shop because I'm stuck, right? Middle of Podunk, Texas in this case. But the load is wherever it may be, it's far out. And they tell me, it's going to be in the shop and it's going to be there for 10 days. Okay. What we do with your load?
All right. So we got a couple options. The first thing I'm going to be doing is you're going to be calling me saying, hey, I'm broke down. I ain't able to get this delivered. Oh, okay. What's your status? And then let's say it's 10 days. I'm going to then call the customer and see the urgency of the load. I'm going to tell them the situation and say, hey, the driver broke down. We're hoping for 10 days. Where are we with your load? If they're like, no, we're not waiting 10 days. We need to get this moving. If they say, we can wait to 10 days, we're fine. If they say, no, we can't wait to 10 days, here's the way that this has to work. And this is what confuses a lot of people is you then have to give the load technically back to the broker. You cannot a friend can't haul it, nothing like that. Because the broker only has the authority to broker the load. Even you, as a broker and a driver, can't do that. Because if I gave it to your carrier MC and your carrier MC is on that contract, you cannot change that contract. You can't take your carrier off and put your broker on it and give it to somebody else. You cannot give that load to another carrier. Only I can. So we have a couple options. One, the option is you might say, hey, I have a buddy of mine. He's going to go ahead and grab my trailer. And then I'm going to take the load back from you. And let's say it was for $2,000. Make my life simple. And he's going to say, hey, just send me for $1,000 and then send him. My buddy says he'll do it for $1,000. I'm going to send a rate con to you for $1,000 and a rate con to him for $1,000. Okay.
Okay.
Now I have to reassign the load. It's my load to assign, not yours. Does that make sense?
Right.
All right. Let's say you don't have a buddy that's going to do it. I have to now say, okay, and I'm very limited. And this is what people don't understand. Brokers are actually limited to what they can and can't do because I never take possession of the freight. Okay. So I cannot force you to unload that trailer. Okay. Now drivers don't know that. A lot of drivers don't know that, but that's technically a law called CARMAC, CARMACK. And I cannot force you to unload that trailer. So I have to persuade you to help me out in a nice way. All right. So what happens then is I say, okay, can I use your trailer? And you are either going to say yes or no to get this delivered. And now all the money that I was going to pay you is now going to go to, most likely in the contract, 99% of the time that you fill out a carrier broker packet, it says that if this happens, all your money's gone. I'm going to use what I can to pay the other guy. Does that make sense? So it's in interest to help me find someone because then you're working with me. Now, I then have to say, okay, can I use your trailer? And if you say, yes, you can use my trailer, I say, okay, I have to find somebody who can do a power only has trailer in exchange, has to come get your trailer, has to come get the bill of lading from you. He's then going to give you a bill of lading, and you're going to give him a bill of lading, and everybody's going to sign off on these bills of lading. So you're done with it. Does that make sense? And you release custody of that load to him. This is the fun part of brokering. This is what we all do, and all we do is sit around and answer phones. So now I've got to have that guy go deliver that load and then most likely bring the trailer back to you. So if the load's supposed to pay $2,000, he might be charging me $1,500. Well, then you get $500. Does that make? But if he's charging me $2,000, you get nothing, no matter how far you took the load.
Well, hold on. So how do I know how much you two negotiated? Because I don't know this guy. Like, how do I know that if it's 2,000, whether you had to give him the entire 2,000 or if he only charged 1,000 and I'm supposed to get 1,000?
But that's the problem too. Now I just basically show you. I let you know because you already know how much I'm paying you, but the broker doesn't have to tell you. Is that, you see what I'm saying? It's up to them. But technically, if you really wanted to at that point, you could go into the FMCSA transparency law, and you could technically, after the load has been delivered, you're allowed to see. If somebody goes into Google broker transparency, everybody that's a part of the load can technically see what it was paid, but you have to review it at the broker's. You have to go to the broker to see it basically right now. But a lot of time, like I said, for me, which I've done, I'll be like, look, man, because the other thing he's going to do is he's going to call you to come get that trailer, and he's going to bring that trailer back to you. So you're just going to ask the driver, what are you being paid? You see what I'm saying? So it's like I can't really stop that one from you guys talking to each other because he's got to call you to find out where your trailer is. He's borrowing your trailer. So at that point, you just ask the driver, what are you being paid? 2,000. Yes, all of it. You see what I'm saying at that point? Does that make sense? I'm just telling you this. All right. Now,
yeah, I got you.
Right now we're in the best scenario. The worst scenario, the second worst scenario is you say I cannot use your trailer. Let's say the trailer's at the shop with you. They told you and the trailer to the shop. And you say, no, I'm not giving up my trailer because it's going. And this actually happened to me, but it was with a van. It's actually going from, I'll give you the example that happened to me. I picked up in Miami, made it to Jacksonville, Florida, was supposed to go to Chicago. But it was with a van, okay? Vans are much harder to get unloaded. But the driver, just like your situation, the driver said, no, you can't use my trailer because there's no place to leave my trailer up there, and the receiver would not take responsibility of it. And we're not leaving the trailer in Chicago, by itself on the side of the street, basically. So I said, okay, now I got to get this offloaded. So now I got to find a forklift company or somebody, just however you were loaded, a crane company, I don't know, however the item is that you loaded, and get you offloaded and reloaded. Now, if there's not enough money in that load to pay for the new driver to take it and hire a crane, I got to eat that money. Because my customer's not going to give me more money for the breakdown because I hired. So, and this is what people understand is when a crane could cost me $4,000. A crane and a crane crew. I actually, somewhere on my community page, and I'll repost it, a small crane to lift something made of fiberglass ended up costing like $3,200. So at $3,200 to get something off, that was offloaded from one truck and put onto another truck, to have a crane come out with a crane crew and stuff like that. And then I got to pay this driver. And you could have been giving me contracted rates where now I got to pay a spot market rate. So at this point, I actually, now technically you're responsible for that money, technically per the contract. But if I'm a small broker and you've only hauled one load for me, you're just going to be like, well, I'm not going to haul any more loads for you. I'm out of here. Sue me. So now I got to decide to either, because I can't be like C.H. Robinson just going to keep all your money. You know what I mean? A big broker, you telling a big broker, pound sand. Well, that's a little different than telling just say me. I bought your hat, so I'm good, but still. And it's a very nice hat. Just so you know, everybody knows these are very nice hats and they're very custom. So I got my green and red, my sage and red, just so you know. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Besides, it's one of those that I might just be out the money because now I got to sue you for it. And is it worth suing you for it? And things like that. So that's kind of where the problems end up happening with that. Now, the absolute worst case scenario is when that driver says, you're not taking this off my load unless you pay off my trailer, unless you pay me. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to pay me or I won't release this load to you. Now I have to pay him and the crane company and the new truck. And in most likely, or he can put it in storage and be an absolute jerk. So that's the risk we play as the brokers. And I know, like I said, because per Carmack, I cannot. That's the same thing with lumpers. I think we talked about this. I don't know you don't have many lumpers, but
yeah, I don't have any on my side. I've never dealt with a lumper doing flatbed at all ever.
Yeah, it's very rare. Usually when you'll do it is if you were to haul like onions or something like that on a flatbed, you put onions on a trailer, then you tarp it and stuff like that. You go to like somewhere with food, they charge you a lumper. But what happens is that lumper, even that everybody's like, well, why do I got to pay the lumper? Why can't you just pay the lumper? Because once you took custody of the load, only you can release the load. So you have to pay the lumper to release the load because per the law, you now have custody of that load. You're responsible for it. You're in custody of it. You see what I'm saying? So a shipper can't pay someone else to take that freight off of your trailer. Only you can pay someone to take that freight off of your trailer. So a broker can't pay someone. They can give you the money, but you still have to be in that transaction to release that load to the lumper. So even though they're paying for it and giving it to you, everybody says, well, why do I got to pay for it? Why don't you just pay it direct? Because they can't legally do that. It has to be released by the driver or the carrier to the lumper, to the receiver. Because if something happens and they break that chain of custody, the insurance is going to come in and say, hey, the driver didn't authorize that. We're not paying the insurance. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a lot. That was a lot of information, man. That's very problematic because, like when you were saying some of that stuff about the trailer, right? Because we didn't discuss how far we're talking.
Right.
Right. Where you broken down that to where the load needs to go. So it's like me again. Let's say we're in Texas and the load needs to go to Kentucky. Mm-hmm. How I get my trailer back? If I decide to let this other carrier
right,
the trailer, that's something I got to figure out. That's not your problem, I'm assuming.
No. It's technically it's my problem because I have to ask you what you're going to allow me to do. Are you going to allow me to do a power only and at least get it there? Okay, so you'll say yes, but he has to bring it back. Damn. Okay. Okay, well that won't work because I don't have enough money in it. So, there have been times where if it was a power only, you says yes, he can leave it there, and then you'd have to go get your trailer. Yes, but the issue is, it's kind of up to. That's why it's huge for a broker to work with drivers, and this is why I don't understand why brokers don't do this, to work with drivers more often. Like if you find a good driver, the better relationship you have with that driver, the more you're going to kind of be able to work together as a team. And what I'm seeing nowadays is, and what I'll be having some guys on, some brokers on, is that they don't want that team effort. They just want the do it rather than building some type of relationship with the drivers. Now, the better brokers still are, but it's one of those that, like I said, I can ask you if you'll allow to do that and leave it up there. And then you'd have to go get it. You'd have to bobtail to go get it when you're up there. Or, because eventually it all depends on how we're going to work things out financially. I mean, our goal is to do it as cheaply as possible. Whatever we can do the cheapest. So it costs me the less money and you the less amount of money. Because technically you're still responsible for that money. But the fact is, am I going to be able to get that from you? I don't know. You know what I mean? Because you might just say, "Nah, I ain't going to pay you." You know what I mean? And then I got to sue you. I got to take the time to try to get a lawyer. I got to do all this and try to actually, sue the money. And is it worth that? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But my goal is to not upset my customer. Because now the other part of this is customers can charge for late deliveries. So if that thing was supposed to be there in 3 days and this whole process is taking 5 days, I could be hit for 2 days of detention on the receiving end. And that detention could be $300, $400, $500. I have times that it's $1,000 a day. Some of my oversized freight, I have contracts in place. My largest so far was $15,000 a day if I didn't get the load there on the day I said I was going to get it there. So as a driver, I always wondered why brokers don't pay lumpers. Correct, because technically that's your load. You took custody when you signed the bill of lading. You actually took custody of it. And that's the best way I explain this, is taking custody of it. It's like when I used to play hockey, my dad would take me and a couple of the other players. He had to get paperwork saying it was okay for him to have the other players as we went to Canada to play hockey, so that they didn't think, he was kidnapping and crossing the border. But he was in custody. They weren't his kids, but he was in custody of them. So that's not your load. You're in custody of it. So the only person that can actually release that is you. And that's why a lot of drivers don't understand this lumper thing, but only you can allow that lumper. So by you paying that lumper to take it off, you've actually relinquished that. The proper person has actually relinquished that to the lumper to take it off. And that's what, loads can be held for hostage and all this other stuff, because that's according to the law, which is Carmack, is basically that type of ruling in regards to that, making sure that.
Let me give you another one. I wasn't even thinking about this, but this is good. On operators, who, if you have your own authority or you're thinking about getting it, pay attention, because this actually happened to me. Okay, I got banned.
Yeah.
By a broker.
Yep.
Here's the thing.
Allegedly. Go ahead.
It's been at this point over 3 years.
Go ahead.
They're well known here, by the way. They were known as far as I send on a load board all the time. It's a load that I be want to do coming back up from Austin area, and but they still got me banned. So let me tell you what happened though. So I ain't doing anything wrong in this case. Actually, so
allegedly.
Go ahead.
Allegedly. So I had to I was already, how you have some shippers that do bidding?
Yes.
Okay. So I had got into the bidding process. Right. And now this is the beginning. I got into the bidding process through a fellow carrier. He was like, hey, man, because he had been there through a broker, and he was like, hey, the loads pay well. They have a lot of loads. If you can get in there, because they will let you in, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I got in. Well, I'm running, just running regular. And one day they got a load from them. They got a load from the same shipper. Because based on the rate, because I knew the rates, right? See, I've learned all that stuff. I was like, I'm going to go do that load. And so I've done this with them maybe 4 times. Well, this one time, here goes the problem. The shipper, because they know me directly,
right,
want to mention me as a good, you know what I mean? Like she was just talking and she mentioned me. He was like, hold on, that name sounds familiar. So basically, what he ended up doing was, when I called on one of them loads, he said, Oh yeah, I've been waiting to talk to you. Whatever. All right, what's going on? All right.
Right.
He accused me of stealing his customer. He said, and I'm not gonna use her name.
Right.
He said,
Susan.
yeah. But actually, you know what? I'm just gonna say Terry. I know it's a general name. It could be male or female. I'm just gonna say Terry.
Okay.
So he said, well, I was on the phone with Terry the other day, and she mentioned that you had been pulling loads from over there or something. I forgot exactly how he worded it, but he basically accused me of going behind their back.
And you were there.
Go ahead.
You hauled for them before you hauled for the broker? Just so I know.
No. You know what? I don't know. I do know I never hauled that load from a load from that shipper before.
Okay.
Before them. That part specifically, I don't remember to answer your question. But I told him, I'm gonna tell you what I told him. I was honest with him. I'm like, no, I've been in their system, been hauling loads for them at that point for like well over a year. You can ask her. You just said you talked to her, call her and ask her how long have I been hauling, because I haven't ran a load for you guys. I didn't think there was nothing wrong, because at the end of the day, I am a carrier.
Right.
If there was anything wrong with sending a load available, kind of getting a load. From that time on, he just said, okay, off with the head. and so I'm officially like out. Yeah, with the brokers. Like, I don't even know if he still worked there, because I know some of these people it changes out. I called on one in 2020, and he was like, it says here you I don't know if they said blocked or not eligible. They said I gotta call corporate and all this other stuff. So I just never did it. It's like whatever. What's up with that, man? What's your thought? You just thought I was lying?
No, a couple things here. One, every time you sign a broker contract, they say that you're not able to back solicit their customers, blah, 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 blah. But first thing is that's not good luck trying to sue for that and win. You know what I mean? In regards to right to work states and everything like that. Now, basically, there's no way a broker can stop you from going direct to a customer. It happens all the time. If a customer has like plenty of drivers have tried to go on to my customers and tried to back solicit me. But if you have a good enough relationship with that customer, they laugh and they're just like, dude, I've been with this guy for 15 years. You go away. I've seen you one time. So you have to realize is that there's no way that brokers can keep all of their customers. There's other brokers in there. There's other carriers in there. You see what I'm saying? They're not the only person that this customer is going to. You see what I mean? This customer says it's okay for multiple people to be here. This broker shouldn't have that right at all. Now, if it was an exclusive customer, meaning that this customer only uses one broker and that's all they use, which there are some customers.
How would one know that though?
That they only use broker?
In essence, how would I know in that scenario?
Well, that's where it's the shipper's job to say, no, we can't do that. We only use one. We're contracted.
Okay.
You hear that from them. You see what I'm saying? So they weren't contracted. So in my opinion, I would call and say, look, I was there before you were there. I don't know what to tell you, but I was there before you were there. So you actually stole my customer. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, that's an argument that you can say, look, I'm a carrier. I'm allowed to get customers. I was there before you were there. I never hauled a load for you through this and then went back. I was already there. So I don't feel it's right for that broker unless there's an exclusive thing. And then even if there is an exclusive deal, it's the shipper's job to come to you and say, sorry, we're exclusive. We've signed a contract with this broker for a year or whatever. We don't outsource our stuff. He allowed you to come in. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Just like my customer at some point, if we have a great relation, I have a great relationship. I've been with them for 15 years. They know that they're not going to give me up for a one-time guy. You know what I mean? At that point. So at that point, you did what you're supposed to do as a welcome to business. You did what you were supposed to do as a businessman and a carrier. You went to the customer, you got in the door. That's your job. That's what you should be doing as an owner with your own authority. With your own authority. That is why you got your own authority.
Absolutely. So
at that point, you just got to tell them, look, I was here first, bro. You actually, I'm suing you. and don't let that stop you. Our broker's going to do that? Yeah, they're probably going to do that. And at that point, you just have to say, okay, if I haul this is my customer. If I haul this load out of here or this broker, now you're going to want to think, am I actually serving my customer the best? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to think about that and say, okay, if the broker is going to pay me $1,500, is it actually, is the customer going to want to see me haul it for that broker pay, or is the customer going to want to see me direct? Because that customer is giving you a contracted rate and probably wants to see you direct, correct?
Well, you said they're giving a what?
If they're paying $1,500 to a broker rate and you're taking it for 15, most likely the broker's got more money in it, right?
Well, absolutely.
Okay. So is your customer going to want to see you roll up to take that higher load when they know they could have went to you direct for that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's, you know what, that's been a conversation amongst friends and other fellow carriers out here for, like, I've been doing it 5 years this month actually, and it's been a conversation ongoing, because that's been my very issue, is that if I'm gonna go to and do some direct, because there are some they will ask you, but I have learned, experience have taught me, usually if they're asking you, they don't want to pay. But that's what I learned though. It's not just because they love you so much, but yeah, what I learned was the same scenario you said. No, they only want to talk to me because they want to go less than, you know, whatever, because they don't technically know I'm getting the scenario you used and I'm getting 1,500.
Right.
They have no idea. They just know they paid the broker 18, whatever they paid them, and that's it. And then when I come in, and yeah, they trying to get me for the lowest money possible, which kind of defeats our purpose as a carrier.
Let me go over that. And this is okay. So they understand that broker is a spot market rate, right? They're going to a broker. They're going to a spot market rate.
Real quick. So when you go into to acquire customers, a broker,
yeah, as a
broker, are you actually using these terms? Like, are you actually going and saying, hey, I got a spot market rate and I have a whatever kind of rate? Is that how that works?
Here's what I do. So I've got a couple things. So when I go to a customer and a customer gives me a rate, there's a couple questions I ask a customer. The first question I'll say is, what type of rate is this? Is this a budgetary rate? Meaning, is this going to go in 6 months? You know, is this a rate? Is this a contracted style rate? Do you get this all the time? Is there volume behind it? Can I find somebody to do this 5 times a week for the next 6 months or whatever? Is this a contracted rate? Or is this a one-time gotta go get it out of here rate? Okay, so I'm actually going to that customer. And you start to ask about rates. It's more than just that customer saying, "Give me a price." It's time for you to be that detective. Let's determine what type of price I'm going to give them. So if it's a budgetary rate, I might be a little bit high. I might be say, "Hey, this is high," but it's easier for me to come for less money later on than more money. But let's at least see if you get the job, and I can work down from here, because they're negotiating to try to win this bid. If it's a contract, if I go in there and she says, well, we get these 3 times a week or 4 times a week, and I'm like, for how long do you get them? You know, just so I can get you the best rate. It's my job as a logistics provider to provide them the best service, not a rate. It's the best service. So if she says, well, there's high volume in this one stuff, I said, okay, perfect. Let me contact this guy, Lean, who's out of here all the time, and see if he'll give me a contracted rate, and I'll keep him, you know, if we can, more volume I can give this guy, the better rate I can give you. If I can give him, let's say you do shorter hauls. So let's say it's $1,000 a day, right? If I can give this guy $1,000 a day, 5 days a week, and I can day rate him, he'll be at that $1,000 a day, compared to being $1,500 a day spot market rate. But I got to be able to give this guy volume to do that. So you got to help me and let me know, you know, so I can persuade, you know, network with my people. If she's like, well, this is pickup, you know, if let's say she gives it to me on Monday and she says it's got to go by Friday. Why no? Is this a one-time deal? Yeah, just we only service these guys like every 3 months. You know what I mean? We give them one load every 3 months. All right, now we're looking at a spot market rate. I've got a deadline of Friday. You see, she gave me a deadline of Friday, so now I've got to give her a spot market rate. Spot market. So now when I'm going in there as a broker, I'm determining those rates. Now, this is what a good broker does. I'm not saying all brokers do this. I'm just saying somebody that has been doing this for a long time. So when I go and give that price, I need to, because I want volume. Let me give you an example. I know you like the spot market as a driver right now, right?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I ain't got no problem with it.
Well, customers don't like the spot market. Let me give you an example. What if we did spot market insurance?
Okay.
Every month, you didn't know what your insurance was going to cost until the first of the month. It could be going up. It could be going down. It could be, a whole bunch of wrecks in Texas. Next thing you know, it shoots up to $3,000. Same as the spot market. Would you like that, or do you like consistent insurance?
Oh, yeah, I know the answer to that. I mean, it's like anything. It's like your mortgage, your rent, anything you had, car notes.
So this is why drivers don't look at it, and then they think to themselves, oh, damn, he's right. So it's one of those things that customers are the same way. They want consistency. Now, that consistency might be $3 a mile, which is still should be approximately 100% profit for you if you're at $1.50. If your cost is $1.50 and you're getting $3, you're getting 100% profit, right? Because you're getting an extra $1. Okay. But that consistency of 1 year is what your goal should be. Because from there, if you have a contract to do this lane for 1 year and you're getting this much money, you can go to a bank with that and build. You can go to a bank and say, I have a 1 year contract with this customer for this rate. And you now have something. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So your goal because remember, when they look at a broker, they technically should be looking at me as something that gives them volume discounts because I have access to a lot of carriers. So when they look at you, they're hoping not just to get a cheaper rate, but a consistent rate sometimes. So when they look at you, if they're looking at you and they want to get you a rate and they say, hey, can you do this for cheaper? Your first question should be, how much are you going to give me? You going to give me a load every day? Because if you can give me a load every day, I could be that price. But if you just go in there and look at that one load as being cheaper, you're not asking the right question. Because you have to say, okay, you want me to be cheaper. That's the trade-off. What's the trade-off? Your trade-off is no. But what if the trade-off was we can do this for a year at this price? So it's that trade-off that you ask for. When a customer says, hey, can you be cheaper? You need to negotiate back with them. And what's the trade-off? Can I be cheaper? Sure. Can you give me this every day? Can you give me freight every single day out of here? I can give you contracted rates, discounted rates, if you give me freight every day, local freight every day. I know, because I know that's what you haul. So because that's what carriers are doing. Hey, if you give us volume, we can discount your rate 25 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents a mile. You see what I'm saying? Because they know what their profit margin is. And this is where knowing your numbers are. And I know everybody right now wants to get you want to get as much money as you possibly can.
Right.
But the issue is that at some point, those rates are going to drop. And these customers are going to start to remember the guys that weren't beating them in the head with a brick. You know what I mean? Because once I don't need to get hit in the head with a brick every day, I'm not going to let you hit me in the head with a brick every day. But so that's where it's as an owner-operator, like I said, when they want you to do it cheaper, you should be asking for volume. You should be asking for loads every day. How much volume can you give me? If I take this one, what else do you have for me? And just tell them what you like. I like local runs. What do you have for local runs? I live in this area. If I show up here every morning, 7:00, can you give me a load someplace and pay me a day rate of this much money? If you can, I'll be here every day, 7:00.
Wow. I want to read this real quick because this is important. David Torres says, Sage dropping knowledge. Hit that like, please. It's free.
It is.
Go ahead, Sage.
Yeah. So somebody else, can you pop that next one up? How do you calculate?
No, hold on a second. No. I thought you was going to say so. I'm going to say it. I want to say this.
Go ahead.
Yes, hit the like button if you're first time in, subscribe. This information that you're getting right here, you ain't going to get everywhere. Like, seriously. Some of this stuff, I've been doing this, like I said, 5 years to own operating. I've been driving, for those of you who don't know, since 2004. But I'm learning right here, right now. And this one playing, if you go back up to the chat, you can see I didn't even hit him up or nothing. But follow his channel. You know what I'm saying? He drops a ton of great information.
Mods, right? You have no moderators? Man.
Nah, I got nothing.
We got to hook you up. I can't put my link in there. But no, and the other thing, too, I want everybody to mention is that we're all content creators. He's up at 1,300. I think I'm at 18-something. And we drop a lot of information. This is a lot of work and stuff. And sometimes kicking back a little bit from you guys, at least hitting the like button, makes a big deal. Even buying some of his gear. Like, I don't have any gear, so I bought his gear. But even buying his hats and stuff, they're really nice hats, or the shirts and stuff like that. It goes a long way to keep us motivated to give back as much as we possibly can.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of selfish. Well, you should just be doing it. Well, at some point, everybody knows that, sometimes you get tired of stuff and just the appreciation of hitting that like button sometimes goes a long way. I ain't gonna lie. Or the sub button or subscribe and stuff like that too.
Absolutely.
So please buy the hats too. And make sure you get the green and red. And those are the sage hats now. I'm calling them the sage hats.
Yeah.
The sage colors. So
I'm gonna try to find your I was looking to try to find your channel and try to drop it on here, but I'll go ahead and go to the next one. You want to say something on that, you go for it.
Yeah. How can you calculate your operating cost to the mile? How do you calculate your operating cost to the mile?
Oh, this is easy for me because check this out. Because I don't really go nowhere. I ain't gonna lie, I don't. because to me, like I say, I don't. When I go out, this is what I do. When I go out, because I don't go often. When I do, I'm looking at how much money I'm trying to get go around like total. I'm talking about deadheading too, the whole nine is what I'm doing. Like I'm not saying, well, yeah, this low going, this is paying me, 2.5 a mile that way. And then obviously it's my responsibility to find a bad call back. No. If I'm going to one of those, dead areas, that, we got them all across the country. If I know I'm going there, instead of going for some stand, I'm going for like $4.50, $5 a mile. I don't get into the. I have never gotten into that because I've always been local on my end. That's just my honest answer. And then I don't like making up stuff. So you go ahead.
Right. I think the important thing too is, and just so everybody knows, I have my CDL. I've driven over the road. I was an owner. I leased on to Landstar and FedEx Custom Critical. I've had a carrier. I have a brokerage still active. So I've done this whole thing, the regime all the way up. Couple things. Important thing is you need to know is how much do I need to make a day and how much do I need to make a mile? Those are the two important things. So the day is you have to, because when you go to get your mortgage, they don't care how much you make a mile. They only want to know how much you make, a month. So you pay your mortgage by the month. So also know how much you need to make a day. What I used to do is I would calculate, because I was the only one working, my wife, she was in the truck with me. I used to calculate all of my bills. So I knew exactly what I needed to make. And then I divided that by 3 weeks. At 3 weeks, I knew I needed to know what I needed to make at 3 weeks to pay all my bills. And then we would factor in like some spending money. Because then I would know that, can I go home on the week 4 or do I have to stay back? Or do I have to stay out week 4? So for me, I calculated not so much what I needed per mile as what I needed per day. Because I would sit behind the seat a little bit longer if I needed to get my day rate. So besides that, there's probably a ton of calculators online rather than me going over how to calculate by the mile. I guarantee you, if you type trucking by the mile calculator online, you can put all your numbers in it and print something to write out for you. That's probably the easiest way. Factoring fuel, all that, because there's a lot of breakdowns. How much your truck needs just to move would be fuel. Just to move that truck, you got to pay for fuel. So you have to know your fuel mileage. And then there's a breakdown just between your fuel, your maintenance, your insurance, your truck payment if you have one. And let's see, the maintenance, stuff like that to calculate, or you can calculate like I did, all of the bills. So I just knew what I needed to make a day, and I just used what I needed to make a day to cover my bills. That was the easiest way for me.
And that's funny that you said that, because that's actually what I do. This guy here is actually a great friend of mine. We've been knowing each other for like, man, how long has it been, bro? 11 years? Yeah, it's been a long time. Before I was a trucker when you met me, but I didn't have my own truck. He actually wasn't a trucker. He was a security guard.
Mr. Williams here?
Yeah, Mr. Williams right here. Yeah. He got his own truck now, though. He got his own truck and, doing his thing and out there. So I think it's a real question for him, though. You know what I mean? Like, talking to me is mine is pretty much what you said. I basically calculate my bills, my expenses.
Right.
And that's pretty much, because of mine has been, it's pretty much almost calculated to how much diesel I'm going to use, give or take,
right,
every week or whatever. And so that's basically how I've done mine. How much I need to make today. And that's how I've been doing it. Right. So. Yeah.
And that's what I did. And yeah, so what I just, like I said, because my wife was in the truck with me. So I took all my bills, because I needed to pay all my bills technically. and I divided that by 6 days a week and by 3 weeks, because I would do 34-hour restarts every weekend. So then I knew how much I needed to make a day, and then how much I need. And then if I made my monthly bills by week 3, I could work my way home. If not, I got to stay out. Just the way it was, just the way it was.
Okay. Let me read this. Let me go ahead and read it. Junior, Lewis, whichever, I respect. I have a brokerage and didn't do anything with it. Why is what I want to know, on that part. Being Truck and Fitness said I used to divide all my expenses by 2,500 miles.
You could do that.
Okay.
Yep. And that's the other thing too, is just now you have to make sure you get that 2,500 miles.
Yeah. And KJ, he's a question for you, Sage.
Yeah.
You want to know if is that your truck bill or your home bill, or like all of it?
For me, it was all my bills, because my wife didn't work, so there was no other income. So all the income was coming from me, so I needed to pay all the bills. So I took all my bills and knew what I needed to make, and then from there, we would separate my home bills and my wife would separate the home bills and the business bills, but I still needed to make, let's just say it was $500 a day. I still needed to make $500 a day to pay my mortgage. Even though my mortgage wasn't a part of my company, I still needed to make that. So that was my job, was to make that $500 a day, just using simple numbers. Now for her job was to then separate, okay, 200 of a day was the house and 300 was the business, or whatever it was. Her job was to separate that. But I knew my goal was to make the 500, because it's easier to separate that once you got the money, at the end of the month, and figure out what you got and throw it where you got to throw it, depending on which account it is. But I still had to make that. But yeah, back when we used to run, let's say comic books, we didn't have these EDLs. We ran comic books. We also called them paper logs. That paper log didn't work. Next. But either way, but yeah, that was a little bit different.
And I got another one for you. You can ponder on it, which I don't think you need it. This one thing.
12 years. He's known you for 12 years.
Yeah, my boy say 12 years. He said you own you. He was talking to Bink. Okay, Bink responded. What's going on, DIY? How you doing? And let's see what look at Bink. That's what you just said a while ago, back in those paper log days.
I saw that when he in the comments there. Paper logs. And let's just say we always made 2,500 miles a week.
Oh, you gonna make it work? I got you. Hey, and somehow you always slept like 10 hours. Some magic.
Always got 34-hour restarts in. I took a course that wasn't that great. Got up and running and froze up. Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot. I also have a course that I'm hearing that same thing. That like I said, and the whole reason I did my course is that a lot of people are doing the course and they get stuck.
Hold on, Sage. Let me say this. Guys, get his course. Listen to him. Listen to all the information he's giving. Like I say, he's teaching someone who's been out here on the carrier side. I'm talking carrier information. I'm not even just saying on the broker side. But yeah, on the broker side, and obviously that's something I'm into. But yeah, reach out to him.
Email. Definitely shoot me an email. I my phone's messed up, so I'll probably call you from my Google phone. We had a thunderstorm out here, and I swear to God, I was looking for a mushroom cloud. The thunder was so loud. I went out there. I'm like, okay, Russia's hit us. We're dead. But basically, it messed up my phone line, because I actually have a regular phone line. And I should have it fixed by tomorrow. But besides that, shoot me an email and with your phone number, and I'll reach out to you, and we can go over that.
Now, my next question was this. I've always wondered, because I think it wouldn't matter. Would a broker ever sue a carrier doing backdoor?
I haven't heard of one actually doing that, actually suing. Now, you can sue for anything. Winning would be a different situation, right? For you to actually win that case. It's easier for the broker just to cut you and then actually probably sue you.
It's easier for a broker to, you said cut then.
Yeah, cut ties and say you can't work with us anymore,
no.
to end up suing you for it. I mean, they'd have to. It's a lot. You have a lot of right to work states, and there's a lot of things that clause doesn't work. You can't stop people from back soliciting. So it's going to depend on what state you're in and stuff like that. And even then, judges can throw stuff out. They can say no. You're crazy. You know, I mean, so it's not an easy one to win. Anybody can sue for anything. You know, you think you're right, I think I'm right. Well, let's let a judge figure it out. And then even then it's open for interpretation and appeal and stuff like that. So I can't say no. I just know that I wouldn't, because if you got a customer away from me, then I wasn't doing something right to keep my customer. It's my job to do whatever my customer needs for them to say, we're not getting rid of him for you. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? That's my job, is to work my butt off to basically say, hey, they want to keep me over you. And if I can't, then there was something wrong there anyways, in my opinion. But again, you know, other brokers might not feel that way, but I haven't heard of anyone suing. And I could be wrong. Somebody could pull up an article, you know, tomorrow and say, yep, this person sued. Okay. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I've never heard it either. Guys, if any of y'all have any more questions related to any of this, brokers, trucking authority, fitness, I know you don't talk about the fitness side, Eric, but I know you eat.
I do actually. What are you trying to say there? No.
No. I ain't saying that. No, you know what I'm talking about. Don't do that to me.
No, I'm just kidding. No, it's funny too, because I actually dropped a lot of weight, and I got certified as a personal trainer through ISSA. Yeah, through ISSA. So I was actually working out quite good, pretty hard for a while, and then I had a little bit of a step back. I had a little bit of some cardio problem, like a breathing problem, and I went to the doctor, and they figured we couldn't figure it out for forever, and they figured out that I'm allergic to stuff, which I've never been allergic before in my life. So what would happen is I would be sitting there and I'd get shortness of breath just for nothing. So I'm like, oh man. So I wasn't working out. I wasn't doing cardio and stuff like that, but I was up to 3 plates for 2 at 200 pounds and at 45 years old. And then I'm like, okay, done it. I'm done with that. Now I was going to start to just cardio and get lean and stuff like that, because I did my 3 plates. That's all I ever wanted to accomplish. And then I had this step back. And so now I'm finally got that straightened out, and I'm going to be, back at it again. So that's kind of where I'm looking to go with it. Now I'm not, I don't have the bands, which I did watch your band episode, using the bands with that. And that works pretty good. What's the tightness of the band? Like, what's your, do you have different bands, or you just kind of spread your legs? Like, how do you just increase the resistance for the bands? Right.
So the box I have, they got it goes from 5 pounds, and one of them goes all the way up to 25. So it's thicker. Like, what I noticed is the 5 pound one is very thin, or thinner compared, and the thicker one is 25. So if you really was trying to, it get real difficult if you used all of them, so to speak.
Oh, you just okay. And then what are you using for What are you using for reps and sets?
You saying how many would I do?
Yeah, reps and sets, basically.
See, that part depends on what type of workout you're trying to do, right? So if you what I mean is, the more you're trying to do, like you're trying to do some kind of leg exercise, some squats, the more you're doing, just like in the gym, the less sets you would do overall. Well, the less sets. But if you was saying you was gonna do like a bicep, tricep, then I would say I would do maybe five sets, maybe 12 reps, 10 to 12 reps, where when you get in, and I want to make sure that I say this, because this is important. I had to learn this actually by lifting weights too. It has to be difficult when you get into your repetition number, whether you go into 10 or your number you go into 12, whatever it is. It has to be difficult. If you're just going and you get to 12 real easy, unfortunately you're not really doing anything. You're not, because the objective is to break down your muscle, stimulate your muscle. And if you're going real light where everything is so easy, then unfortunately you just kind of wasting your time there. So
yeah, because I was doing strongman type stuff, so it's heavy weight, short rep type stuff. So to lean up, are you under the theory that lots of reps, multiple, more sets, less rep? Like, how do you tone up, basically? How are you doing your toning up?
You said to lead up, okay. But now tone up. See, the toning, I think I'll drop this to this video I got coming up. No. We can talk about it. It's all right. We did. That's the again, I said in the last live, the problem with doing, in my opinion, with doing these pre-recorded videos, which I enjoy doing them, is that I'm trying to keep them like under 15 minutes. So it's only so much.
I just go for like hours. Go ahead.
It's because you're the man, nah? You're the man. So, yeah, Tony, okay, it's obviously the combination of losing fat,
right,
and building muscle, right?
Right.
So, the building muscle range in general is going to be 8 to 12 reps. See what you was doing, the strongman stuff, where you doing like 3 reps,
4 reps.
Yeah, that's for power.
Right.
Just getting stronger and just strength by itself. Well, the other one is more as just you building your muscle up. And so to me, that range would be 8 to 12 to answer that question. That's on the building muscle side. Now, to lose the fat, to lose the weight, that's where the nutrition come in at.
Yeah, see, I'm vegan. So, and that's another thing too. I did 3 plates as a vegan, just so you know. And I've been vegan for like 15 years. So, and I trust me, I'm just vegan. I'm vegan. Everybody else
vegan.
Yeah, everybody doesn't have to be. I'm not an attack vegan. Everybody else doesn't have to be one. But I am. So for me, now of course I do some carbs and stuff like that, but I try to do not as many carbs. I ain't gonna lie. But
so are you kind of keto then, or are you just a personal goal?
Me and carbs we have a love-hate relationship. Like, I love them and they hate me. So if I do too many carbs, it's just war on me, man. So I have to try to kick back off the carbs and stuff and do less of those. But I do like protein drinks and stuff for my protein. And then like black beans and things like that. And tofu and stuff like that. But it's just, for me, it's like carbs is just, they're fantastic. Carbs are fantastic, but I can't, but they hate me. So that's where my frustration lies, is trying to, is to fight that. Cause I know what the weak point is. Like I'm a huge bread, person. And that's just, butter is just great. But, I'm trying to get off that. So that's where I don't know, being vegan and trying to do the cardio thing, it's gotta be rough, right?
Well, I'm not a vegan, but let me answer your question. But I have done low carb. Actually, what I'm doing now is what people would consider low carb to keto. There's a reason for it. I'm going to share this because it's not special information. I think it's actually important for truckers in general. If well, obviously but because some people are local, like Bink, and I guess technically me, myself. But if you're over the road, and you're gonna be running literally like 10, 11 hours a day.
Right. It's
best to eat low carb if you can, if at all possible, because you're not moving, you're just not that active. And I'm wondering what you're saying, if that's what you're running into, because when I see you, respectfully, sir, but when I see you, you're doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're making your money.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You ain't got to tell me anything I don't know. And that's where it was nice in the morning, because I get up so early in the morning before I was having this breathing problem, because it was a serious breathing problem. Like I couldn't do anything, and they couldn't figure it out. Now we know. I would work out in the morning. Like I'm pointing because you guys can't see it, but I've got like a rower, I've got a Bowflex stepper, I've got a treadmill, I've got Bowflex, the older Bowflex that has the rods over there, and a leg press machine. I got my bars over there. So I've got the stuff, and I was doing that in the morning, usually when I would get my workout in.
Okay.
But then what happened to me is it's been about probably like 2 months before we could figure out, because they ran all kinds of tests. They were testing my heart, they were testing my breathing, they were testing all this stuff. And finally one doctor's like, yo, are you allergic to anything? I'm like, no. And they're like, yes, you are. And then they basically test me for that. And they said, okay, you're allergic to like everything. I'm like, fantastic. And it would just, what happens is when it wouldn't allow me to get oxygen in, because I would get a flare up basically. So I would feel like I was getting shortness of breath, like I couldn't get air in, I couldn't get oxygen in. So here I'm afraid I'm having heart problems on this other stuff, but I'm not. So they started giving me medicine for this, and it's gotten a heck of a lot better. So now I can go back to working out in the morning. So yeah, I sit a ton doing this type of stuff, and that's the same thing as a driver. So I think that's where the carbs, because I'm not active, I'm not moving, I'm not using energy, I'm not burning. My carbs just kind of hang. Me and my carbs are real good friends. We hang out all the time together. So rather than me burning them off, basically.
Well, let me give my personal experience for carbs. By
All
the way,
right.
I love them. Right? I'm not just talking about the taste. That's obvious. That's obvious. But no, I'm saying energy. You know, your body feeds off that. I understand the way they say ketosis work. I'm not into that. I'm not against it. I'm just having,
Right.
It's not my thing. But they say, like once you get in ketosis, your body start running off fat as opposed to carbs.
Right.
But naturally, your body's running off carbs. So if you're using your carbs well, you go to the gym, you're like at your strongest, and that's how you build in muscle, by the way. When you go on them days, some days you just need to go get done what you need to get done. And I just did this on may have been Sunday. I felt pretty weak no one Sunday. Anyway, one day last week, I felt pretty weak, because I had been eating like kind of like a keto, low carb for the week. Really just to speed up my progress, because I'm eating less calories overall. I just want to go ahead and get down to 180, 185 and get back to my kind of my way of balance and things like that. So, but no, I carbs are actually is good. I was more saying if you are going to know you're going to be very stationary,
right?
It's and you're trying to either maintain your weight or drop some pounds. It's best to try to do that, lower that. And another thing that a lot of us don't do is move around. I'm talking about just at truck stops. When I do go overnight and I do a run, I get somewhere like 6, 7. People go from right here to the truck stop, and they go right back. I literally I put it on. I don't know if I actually put it on my video. I know I put it on like Instagram, Facebook or something. But I literally, when I get there, I will walk around. I'll do like a 30-minute session intentionally. Those intentional to just try to stay active, because I have been when I'm doing an overnight run, I'm driving all day. Like I may get up at 2 a.m. and shut down at like 5 p.m. It's like, yeah. And I've been sitting all day. So yeah, just trying to burn some of it off. Daenerys had a question for you, by the way. Alkaline vegan.
I'm not sure what that is. I'm vegan. I don't eat. I'm cruelty-free vegan, if you want to be honest. I don't do anything that, eat meat or anything like that. Me and my wife both are. So I'm not sure what alkaline is. Maybe he can tell me, because like I said, I'm vegan. I eat vegan, but I'm not one of those. Exactly. And that's it. And because he also had Apocalypse has another one. Some intentionally blame the carbs, and that's what I'm doing now. Because, like I said, before, I gotta blame somebody, right? When I was active, they weren't a problem.
I missed that one. I'm sorry. Oh no, I hadn't got to it yet.
The carbs are your friend, especially. Exactly, and I do a ton of the vegetables. Obviously, what kills me is the bread and the other stuff I love to do. But like he says in his next one,
I want to click on it. Let everybody see it.
Yeah, see. He's right. And when I was active, I didn't have a problem with him. You know what I'm saying? It's when I got this flare up or whatever this was that we couldn't figure this out. I stopped being active because it was rough. I mean, I couldn't get up my stairs without being winded. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. And we didn't know what it was. So now we know what it is. And they've got me, figured out with that. I'll probably go back to doing more of my treadmills or the Bowflex and things like that. And that's another one that I do in the morning usually. But yeah, he's absolutely right. But even so, let's just cakes and stuff like that. Man, my wife's like, I'm like, don't bake anything. Don't, because my wife is also a fantastic baker, which is also punishment. So I'm like, don't bake anything. So I'm like, whatever. So now she bakes bread and gives it to the birds. I'm like, that's just cruel. Whatever. But no.
Yeah, so I agree with that. What he said. Because I use the same word actually. He said lack of cardio, and I'm just saying lack of activity. Saying the same thing.
Exactly.
Because that's all cardio is. It's some people when they think of cardio, they only think of either just running. Just in their brain, running, or if you go to a gym, they think treadmill. And I'm just saying that cardio can be any form of it. It can be jump rope, it can be a HIIT workout, just stands for high intensity.
Yep, that's what I do on the Bowflex there. Yep, the HIIT.
Yeah, there you go. And it's different ways. You can do this stuff with no weights, by the way. There really is no excuse. You can do it with no weights. it's simple. Something like you can do, like hypothetically, let's just say, I know there's a thing called burpees, but burpees can be challenging for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually, because I did the push-up thing, so I can do them, but burpees are that's torture. That's somebody figured out a torture technique. That's what it was for some people. That's got to be. You know what the worst part is too? Is like, even when you're a personal trainer, it's like, you know what you're supposed to do, but almost the personal trainers have personal trainers for a reason. So it's like, oh, you jerks. But stuff. After I eat, I only eat one light plate when I do. 6 foot 205, but I run usually like 14 hours daily. Yeah. I was having it. For me, it wasn't after I ate. That could be the processing of food. That could also be GERD. Am I pronouncing that right?
What is that? I'm not sure.
GERD can be like, because that's what they were asking me. It's like indigestion when your body, your acid in your stomach isn't processing the food properly. So it's
did you say acids or
acid?
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's when we're not making enough money off our AdSense Google account.
No, I actually thought you said like I don't cuss. I thought you said the rear end.
No.
You said no process. So I'm like, what?
Acid in your stomach isn't processing the food up your throat. Because I used to get that too. But for me, it was just, I would sit and do nothing. I'd be sitting there watching TV and get short-winded. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? But yeah, at 6 foot 205, that's not bad shape at all, to be honest. I wouldn't think.
Let me ask him something. Therese, I want to ask you, how active are you? And the reason why I'm asking this is because personal experience. If I go, it could just be 1 month without doing some form of cardio. That first day back, I feel like it's torture. Like, I'm gonna give an example. Let's just say I would do I'd use bike ride because it's my favorite thing to do. But let's just say I would do when I first, actually this is a true story. When I first started bike riding, I thought it was gonna be nothing because I hadn't done it since I was a kid, right? I was gonna hit this trail, and I know, so after about 20 minutes, I was wore out, had a hard time getting to the end of the trail and all that. But now I could catch that trail all the way there and back. It's now what took me an hour, take me, like, if I did it, I ain't been there in a while, like 40 minutes. And I'm not breathing as hard, it's not as difficult. So I'm just more curious on, because I don't know if he has an issue with what you just said, Sage, or something along your end, or if he just, because he said but he run his usual 14. So
yeah, so that's,
yeah, I don't know if you active or not. You're speaking the DI. Let me see. Must be the sodium in your process. Okay. So
right. Okay. And that could be it too, because that's going to give him that, like I said, that, it could be how he's processing the food, basically, how his stomach's processing the food. Because like I said, for me, I do some processed food because we're vegan. Some of the stuff's processed. And then, of course, we also do like vegetables and stuff like that. But I don't, because I went from, and then I had, I'm in rough shape. I think I had an ulcer or something. So they gave me pills that also helped too. And then I'm off those now, but that was rough. But yeah, so it could be, like I said, I don't think that's bad shape, to be honest.
Well, I do want to say on that sodium thing, again, your body needs sodium,
right.
A certain amount of sodium. But then when you have too much, if you have too much for too long, that's when you start to, risk the high blood pressure,
mm-hmm.
Of course, the heart attacks, the scary things, strokes,
right,
and stuff like that. So I would personally recommend a few things. One is to try to up your potassium, because your potassium can kind of cancel out in the sense your sodium. Now, you can't be eating 10,000 milligrams of sodium in 100 grams of, milligrams of potassium. But in general, things like watermelon is a great source of it. Coconut water. I personally don't really like coconut water, but I know a lot of other people who like it. So it's a great source. Orange juice. I'm trying to think something else. Bananas.
Yep.
Yeah. Sweet potatoes. A lot of these are a great carb source. Not carbs. I'm sorry, they are carb sources, but
they are right.
They're actually good carb sources, but actually high potassium that can help. That's what helped me, by the way, because I did actually have high blood pressure. Deneric, when he called me earlier, he was telling me that because well, I'm not gonna go to that part, but I'm gonna say when I was roughly his age is when the doctor had came to me with it, and that actually started this. That's where Lean Truck actually came from. Is because when they told me that, and at that time having 2 young kids, that wasn't a been up blood pressure pills.
Yeah,
because it's in my family, too. So that thing right there was a whole nother then downgrading. It was gonna be you downgrading your CDL and all. And that's one thing too that me and DB Dirty Bro talked about was starting to kind of hammer home on some of these lives or videos that when you say health is wealth, that means something here.
Yeah, absolutely.
That means something.
Driving a truck, that health card, you ain't got it. You ain't getting it.
There you go.
So, there you go. That's a big deal, and that's what a lot of drivers don't understand. That once that thing's kicked out, you get get dropped down to a year. The next thing you know, you could drop down, and it could be gone. And it's just something that's like, ruh-roh, now what? You know what I mean? Now what?
Yeah.
And that's just it's a big deal. So I was the same way. The high blood pressure, and I'm like, okay, that's when I dropped the weight. And then I got to go back at it now that we figured that out. But it was just it's a lot more than people think about, and it's so easy to gain the weight and get up there and get there. Maintain it it actually takes some work. You know what I mean? It takes some commitment, and that commitment's difficult when you're driving a truck. It just is. So you just have to find ways to do that. And I'll be honest, and maybe it's just the water, drinking just water, not drinking soda, not drinking. Yeah, I am shocked in how just drinking water, not even diet sodas, not diet, nothing like that, just water actually helped me lose weight. Like
no question. No, that's huge. Again, look,
everybody's like, diet soda. No, I'm just talking straight water.
Yeah, it
works. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to explain why. Yeah, actually, again, it's like I'm promoting a video, which it don't matter because it ain't out yet. But that's water. What some people don't understand is 2 things. Number one, your most dehydrated time of the day is when you first wake up. Right? This is a fact. When you first wake up. But this what happens to a lot of people. For a lot of people, when you first wake up, you feel like you're starving.
Yes.
It's some it do, some it don't. I used to be like that, but because if over time I had kind of pushed my I guess it's called like that clock.
Yeah.
That help, whatever.
Clock, whatever, yeah.
Yeah. But basically though, if you drink like 8 ounces of water, it will subside because your body don't know the difference between dehydration and thirst. It just know it wants something. It's missing something. So the reason I'm bringing it up is because as you continue to drink water throughout the day, you will be full longer. That's another thing that happened. Let me tell you something. Actually, I'm glad you brought this up because this is very important. This one thing that really helped me and made me just really, really think about this. And this is easy. And I think everybody going to agree with this. Check this out. The doctor lady, she told me, she said, now I never looked this up. But
word of mouth from a doctor, good enough for me.
But it made sense. Check this out. She said it takes 15 minutes for your body to tell your brain that you're good as far as eating.
That you're full. Okay.
You're full. Right. She said, have you ever noticed that when you were eating out with friends or your significant other or just something like that, where you was talking and eating, that you noticed that you probably didn't finish your food? Like when you're out, because you're talking and eating.
Right.
So by the time, like as far as when, like right now, get off this thing, go take a shower, go watch a TV show and start eating. That's what a lot of people are doing, right? You're watching TV and you're eating before you know it, the meal is like gone in like 5-10 minutes, whatever you're eating.
Right.
But on the other end, you would eat less if you actually either drink in between while you're eating, or talking. Or like if you're in that setting talking, because your brain your body is gonna send your brain that signal, and then you'll be like, okay, I'm good. So just a little fun fact. I thought it was it. I tried it. It works. For me, it works.
That's the problem because I still eat like I'm in boot camp because I'm like, all right, let's go. I eat very fast, so that could be a problem with me also because there's times my wife looks over and she's like, you're done. I'm like, I'm done.
I would have jumped off this thing like 30, 45 minutes ago if I didn't eat before I got on here. So I definitely relate to that.
You brought me on. You knew what the repercussions of bringing me on is.
Oh no, hey, it's all good, baby. You know, hopefully people getting some ideas. That's all that matters to me. It's a tourist trucker was talking to Apocalypse, but he said, "Yes, I'm so tired. By the time I shut down, I eat a lot of microwave food. Yeah, that's the high sodium. Then,
Yeah, that could be right. Then he could be absolutely right.
Yeah, you know, I don't really go there a lot, but Subway got a good couple, fresh options, here and there. I know you can get tired of it, but you kind of mix up, some of the other ones they got turkey breasts and stuff like that. I'm gonna try to find the machine. I'm gonna have this they some YouTubers. They focus more on working out outside of the truck, which is awesome because they over the road. They actually live here in Dallas area, but I'm going to have them on later this month because I want them. They're actually, I think they follow the paleo diet. Well, to me, it's all about the information. It's not about me being right. It's just about helping people,
And we even talked about this. Sometimes what the diets that work for me might not work for your body because our bodies are different. And my body might be used to something that, like I said, I eat any bread and it's like, and where you can eat it and it's different just because different routines that we do or just our different makeups of our bodies can process things differently, So it all depends on the people too.
Right. And the reason why I want to bring them on because now they into even more of the scientific side, right? Like they get deep into it. But more importantly, I like the fact I'm trying to really just help promote their channel. They probably got like 700 subs or something, but they have, like I said, a lot of good. I seen them do exercises in the truck. Like I don't even know what he was using. The dude was doing pull-ups in the truck. I don't know if he was using like the top bunk. You know what I mean? So
it might have been. I don't know actually, because maybe. Pull-ups. I don't know that. That's actually good. That's good. Well, you need to ask him.
Right. That's why I would have them on. It's actually a husband and wife team. And it's just seem like really, really good people. I really like them. So I definitely gonna have them on by the end of this month, and we can try to get into that, break that down. Let's see. It's difficult, brother. I would recommend eating that main meal early in the day. Never eat full. Of course, we have to shut down into a secret burst. Yeah, that's great advice, Apocalypse. On top of that, just me. I'm not gonna get too difficult in it, but I don't like eating that late at night for me, mainly because of I get gassy. Just as simple as I can put it. My stomach will kind of feel like it's bloated and it's just a very uncomfortable sleeping. Like it seems good to be like fat full and all that stuff, but
I eat about 5 and I can't. That's the best you're getting there out of me because I'm like I don't feel comfortable either, and I sleep on my stomach, so it's like that's rough. 3 for hard-boiled eggs and a black coffee. Snack a few almonds. Eat dinner no later than 2 p.m. Then a light meal before sleeper.
Okay, hold on, Apocalypse. Now, Sage just said 5. You said, oh, okay, no, my bad. He said dinner no late, then very light meal before sleeping. Never mind. I was like, how you stop eating that too? I can't stop eating that too.
Right. I do 5. 5 is my last meal, and it's normally a smaller meal because it's a bigger meal. But 2 p.m., you're going to see a very angry Sage. You'd stop eating at 2 p.m. I'll be honest with you.
I give you mine. Mine typically, my last meal usually comes between, actually right around there, Central Time, about 6 is usually. But I tend to go sleep around 10. So I guess you could say 4 hours before. Just give it time to digest.
Right.
About 4 hours before I lay down. But that what he just said, the 3 or 4, boiled days with black coffee. Some people don't know, so I'm gonna throw it out here too. That black coffee is 0 calories.
Right.
Yeah, the calories come from the cream and sugar and then that stuff you add. But if some of you people actually enjoy unsweet tea, black coffee, you can drink as much of that as you want and not have to worry about gaining weight. And actually, it helps you on what is it? Is it the trying to figure out what the coffee helps you on besides give you energy? It's something else. It's the actual benefit. It escapes my mind right now. Roscoe, what's that? Go ahead, Sage.
No, I just want to say salute to Apocalypse too. I saw that earlier.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Roscoe? me see. Terrestrial trucker. Did I mention along with my Terrestrial I have food and texture issues? No veggies or anything soft and mushy like bananas or such. Make sure it's really in me what I can put in my mouth. Okay. No, you didn't mention that, but yeah, yeah, that changes. Usually you don't hear the veggies, some people just don't like them, but yeah, if it's something you can't do, yeah.
That'd definitely be a problem.
That's actually why I don't like seafood. Like when I say that, people be like, they want to shoot me, want to kill me. Like, what you mean? like the Nerican invited me over to his house. He was like, you gotta do these crab legs. He's been trying to get me doing for years. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it, and so I, get them. It was too much work, bro. I'm gonna short it up. Too much work. You gotta all this cracking and this and stuff. Now, how did it taste? They were fine, but it wasn't worth the work. You feel? And then, okay, now they ain't the most healthy thing either because you dipping them in butter and garlic sauce and all that.
Right. I used to see that too, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And butter can, that's another one too. All that butter and stuff like that. So it's like,
yeah.
And I think the problem is I didn't do seafood much because I used to work I was in the Coast Guard. So when you do in the Coast Guard, we would board boats, and some of the boats that we would board, I was done with fish. I was done with fish by the end of I'm like, I don't want fish, nothing to do with fish anymore. Because, when you're boarding all these fishing boats and boarding them all, there's some fish. We have slime eels and stuff like that out there that it's like, okay, this is just, okay, I'm done.
Well, here's my thing. I knew what it was. I'm sorry. Was you done? I didn't want to.
Oh, go ahead. No, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I'm going to explain what it is. That's why I was going back to what Therese said. It's the texture, man. It's the texture, right? Like, once I started, I tried. I just did it actually again like a couple days ago. It was some kind of shrimp taco or something. I tasted it. The taste is not bad, but that rubbery.
I understand. See, we already lost Apocalypse. Possible you ain't like seafood. I'm outie.
That's why but look, I honestly, I really tried it. I still haven't given up, but I think that's where I'm at because seafood is actually could be one of the most healthiest things you can eat. Like, sure. Honestly.
Yeah. I guess if you can get past like I said, the rubbery taste. I'm not a big seafood person. I wasn't a big seafood person before I was vegan. So it was the same stuff. It was just like, I'm good. Let's see. Over the road, usually up at 5 or 6. So 2 p.m. puts an 8-hour day. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had that problem. Actually, with what he just said, I was doing intermittent fasting. Right.
Okay. Yep.
So for those of you who don't know, it's just basically it's an eating window. The most popular one is 16 hours. You're not eating anything, and then you actually eat between it. I guess I should have just said it this way to stop the confusion.
Yeah.
But an 8-hour eating window, and that's just whatever time that works for you on your schedule. But yeah, for me, I used to get up when I was doing fuel hauling. I was getting up at like 1 a.m. So yeah, so mine were kind of like at that time I was actually had stopped eating at like 4 p.m. because I was going to sleep so early.
Right.
But yeah, so I understand what he was saying about that time is where I was getting at. Hold on, let me see.
That's your coffee. That's your black coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Helping you out with that.
Yeah, that's what he meant. Appreciate that. D and Apocalypse. Yeah, natural doubt. Yes. And that's another thing too that combats water. Just as important that you gotta go to the restroom.
Right.
You drinking this? Trust me, it's gonna be happening. So it's only two. I'm gonna say this is like the two main ways that you're gonna get sodium out of your body or to excrete the sodium is a lot of drinking water and sweating. Notice working out. Okay. Again, however you see that. And I want to go back to what I was gonna say earlier too. You remember I had mentioned that there's things you can do that you don't need any weights. You don't got to go to the gym.
Yeah.
The truck stop before you take the shower. You can do because we got thrown off when I said burpees, but you could do like
you did.
Yeah, like 15 jump squats followed up by like 15 push-ups, followed up by 20 jumping jacks, and one more exercise. Take you a 1-2 minute breather. Do it again about 3 more times. It's probably going to take you a total, off the top of my head, maybe 15 minutes. You will be sweating. We have got your heart rate up, which is obviously just as important as all this other stuff we're talking about, having a good, healthy heart.
15 minutes, you said?
I guess.
All right. So 15 minutes. Isn't that what you're making your content, about 15-minute videos?
There you go.
That sounds like a good content video, doesn't it?
You know what? I thought about that because I've seen Bink. I seen Bink do a video, something similar. I don't know how long it was though, but I may do that. You know what I mean? I may.
Why not? I mean, you got somebody right here that says that he's looking like a meatball.
I didn't actually read it yet.
Hey, man.
I'm not gonna be saying that. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's what you was talking about right there.
Waiting for that 15-minute video showing him what he should be doing, and then now you should be doing the 15-minute challenge.
I'm probably gonna do it, man, for real.
Right. Challenge him up. I'm up there.
I'm probably gonna do it. I may. I'm just gonna. Time ain't the issue. Just figuring out where I want to do it. Like, well, I actually want to wait till I do an overnight run, do it at the truck stop, just because.
Yeah, you could actually do the content where you can pick one thing to do and pick it because like all the DB did the push-ups, right?
Yes.
So pick one and do one, and then that's the challenge, and then keep adding it until now they got to put it all together. So here's the first one. Here's the challenge. I don't know, whatever it is, whatever you're picking.
Okay, gotcha.
And then the next one would be sit-ups. The next one would be this. The next one would be this. The next one would be this one. And at the end, they got to put they have to do it all together to keep the routine going.
Okay.
Put together the challenges, and by the time they're done, you got a full 15-minute exercise routine.
That's true. I'm gonna think about it, man. I'm gonna think about it. That was creative. That was creative.
Challenging all of us to do this smallest portions, and what you're actually teaching us now. You say now you put it all together, and you got yourself a 15-minute routine.
Yeah.
We're doing this Sesame Street style. That's how I do it. Put it all together, bam. Now you put it all together, story's told.
There you go. No problem, Terrence Trucker, man. Hopefully, and some of this helps, and anybody who's, coming through, I know people got to come and go, but yeah, hopefully you get some information out of this somewhere. Great live for you fellas. The community needs this. Salute, sir. But yeah, I was gonna go back to the trucking, but it's already like an hour and a half, and I still gotta go take a shower and get some rest.
That's cool. Like I said, you're welcome to have me on. Like I said, another time or whatever. But
yeah, because your knowledge on this side is underrated as well, because you don't talk about it. You'll be so locked in on the the business end of it, which is just what. Let me ask this though. Let me read Roscoe before we get off this, because I actually don't know this information. I actually do need to know it too. All right. He said, I did football in high school. I've always been a big guy, but this truck driving, yeah, that's real.
Well, then you should be able to get down quick, because it's easier. That muscle memory is easy to come back too. So that's something else to look forward to.
Now, I do want to say this.
Or maybe I'm lying.
I know they're going to be popular, okay?
All right.
It ain't going to be popular, but it's real. We have to prioritize. End of the day. And the reason why I say that is because some wise person told me some years ago. They said, people make time for what's important to them. Mm-hmm. Now, at this time, it was a dig at me, so I wasn't feeling it, right?
And darn if he wasn't right, or she.
You're right. So, but then if you examine your life, even on a day-to-day basis, the things that you find important, I don't care if you're a YouTube creator and you put that priority, you make time for those videos.
Right.
But edit them, you create them, whatever it be. If you're into fitness, it doesn't matter. Driving, you say, I want to make this amount of money. You put the effort into that. If you can get behind that, what do you do? And I'm just saying, I agree with a lot of things that people said, but I'm saying at some point we have to make a decision that it's important to us enough to say, even if let's say like Terrence Trucker was saying that he's using his 14 for an example, right?
Right.
At some point we have to say, and it has nothing to do with him. I'm not taking a shot at anybody, by the way. Honestly, not. I don't play the subliminal games. It's not about none of that.
You can pick on me, fire to me. I don't care.
But okay, I fire that too, because you a good one, because you got all this stuff in here. If you start at 6, get up at 5 and do something for 20 minutes.
Yeah. I probably
what I'm saying? If that meant you had to go to sleep 30 minutes earlier, Like, I'm not saying miss your sleep, sacrifice your sleep. I know some people say that that's part of that video. It was like sleep when you're dead. You know, everybody's got this.
Right, I saw that one. Yep.
Right. But I'm saying get up 30, go to sleep 30 minutes early, get up 30 minutes early. And do your thing then. You know what I mean? And you living at home, you just go take you a shower and you come right back, you go to work.
What you're saying. I got no excuse.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you prioritize it, everything right there in that room.
Yeah, it's all there.
You know, you got the advantage, by the way. You got an advantage. But I did want to say though that the point is priorities. You have to you this business by way of that medical card.
Yeah.
Eventually, you got to prioritize that, or it's gonna prioritize you in one way or another. Either they gonna sit you down. I do know a guy that my first local job. He ever since I known him, he had diabetes. He ran his family. At this time, we was both, because I think it's maybe 2 years older than me. We was both in our mid-20s.
Yeah.
Well, he just started back driving this year. He was out for 2 years. Couldn't drive because he couldn't get medically cleared. Yeah, it was.
Surprised he came back.
Surprised he came back.
I'm surprised he was able to get it back again, because it's not easy to get it back. You know, it's a lot of work. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's whatever your problem is, you really got to work to get that back. You know what I mean? If it's blood or whatever it is. So that's pretty impressive that he got it back. He must have worked hard to get it back, whatever it was.
Man, what was my last question I wanted to bring up to you?
Trucking. What to do with trucking?
It was. I just don't remember what it was, man. I'm sorry.
You needed to know.
Come on, let me try to remember real quick before I get off here. Was it about truck, brokerage? Man, dang it. Don't remember, man. I'm sorry. Sorry, people. I thought it was a good one, too. Whatever it was. And you know what? Chances are, as soon as I end this thing, I'm going to be texting you to say this what it was.
All right, let's pretend we're ending it. All right, I'll see you later. Nice talking to you.
Hey, any more questions? I'm trying to stall real quick so I can tell everyone this.
Yeah.
Do anybody got any more questions? Like I say, whether it's the fitness side, health, trucking, anything in trucking, owner operator, company guy, own authority, any of that stuff, brokering.
Throwing it all out there, trying to figure out what it is, see if anything rings a bell.
I mean, hey, you know, between you and I, we're fortunate enough to be kind of, not kind of, have some knowledge on all of that, actually.
Exactly. And that's where, where you're still out there driving the truck and with the brokerage, you're doing exactly what I, tell most people to do is get the brokerage, get out there, drive. And when that customer comes out to you and says, hey, I'd rather use you direct. And okay, perfect. And then once you start to prove yourself to them, they say, man, I wish I had like 10 of you. Well, I do have a brokerage. And then, you find some friends or something like that and you get in there. And that's how you build that brokerage, with that ability. But it's like we talked about earlier, is that when you get into that customer, when they're not, although they might be looking for a better rate, that better rate means something to you. And that better rate means, well, what are you going to give me for this better rate? Because if you're looking at that better rate as a one-time fee, well, then you're looking at it wrong. If they want a better rate, they got to give you volume. That's how the system works. And they know that. So that's the goal. And that's, so you say, oh, fine, I can do that. Can you give me 5 days a week? What else do you have? How common are these loads and stuff like that? And next thing you know, you're only hauling freight for them and you're not using brokers at all because they're giving you local work. And that's when you build relationships. You tell them what you like. I'm running local work. I like doing this. I like, this is what I'd like to run. Is this what you have? And then they say yes. And then you give them, that rate to be able to consistently run from them and get what you want from the deal. It's not just about what they want from the deal of that lower rate. It's what would you give them for that lower rate and what are they going to give you for you to be able to do that for them. And that lower rate still, it better not be, if you need $1.50, obviously don't take it for $1.25. But if it's $3 a mile, you still should be getting, and your rate's $1.50. I'm just thinking up simple numbers. Or if your rate's $500 a day and you're getting $1,000 a day, you're still getting 100% markup on what your profit is, where your profit margin is. And that's kind of how drivers have to look at that. And that will go in there.
I remember, Sage. I remember.
All right.
Woo-hoo! The insurance.
Yeah.
They've talking about the law has been passed. Actually, if Teresh Truck in here, I know he had brought it up because he said he wasn't sure because he's thinking about in the future getting his own authority. Or at least it's crossed his mind. He said, but this new law that we don't know is going to be official now. Do you know anything about it? I know you've heard of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, so the new law and what they're looking to do, and of course this could all change. I'm not a lawyer nor am I a politician, but I could probably play one on TV if somebody wanted me to. But basically, the new law is the $2 million in the auto liability, right? And that $2 million, what they want to do with it is they want to make it a 5% inflation bump every year. So every year they want to raise it 5%. To what? Who knows? Maybe to unlimited. I don't know. Everybody's like, okay, it's going to double rates. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. Well, I have a couple surprises coming up. One, give me a couple weeks. I'll be making an announcement. But what I do know is that, is it going to raise your rates? Yes, it's going to raise your rates. Is it going to double your rates? No, because the rates that are coming that you have now are kind of a baseline. You have cargo in there. You have, I don't know what you carry. What do you carry? Do you carry general and umbrella and everything?
Well, we don't have to do umbrella unless it's a specific customer. I carry general. You don't have to, but it actually gives you more access to try to, go into shippers. So.
Right. That's why I didn't know what you carry because you were direct. So,
right.
So they're not raising that. They're just raising one portion. So it's going to raise it, but it's not going to double because you already have all the other stuff that it's not raising. Does that make sense? Because you got to have your base and they're just coming up on one. But it's definitely something you should be getting a quote for now before it's mandatory. You know what I'm saying? Because once it becomes mandatory, prices change, right?
And you're saying, hold on, but what you're saying about that, you can't lock it in, though. Is that what you were trying to insinuate?
Well, technically, if it's something that you can go ahead and do now, you could get the insurance now if you wanted to get it. Because it has passed the House. It has not passed the Congress. I believe it's in the infrastructure bill, which they're fighting about right now. But I don't know if it's going to stay in there because it was being, at one point I heard that it was leaving. It was not going to be in the infrastructure bill, but it definitely has passed the House. 100% has passed the House. Now, for it to become a law, it needs to pass the Congress, and then from Congress it needs to be signed by the president. But it has passed the House that technically that could be moved up for Congress to vote on it, and then eventually Congress and then the president. But will it pass? It's hard to say. It depends what else is in the bill. You know what I mean? If because sometimes they like sliding things into bills with 17,000 other things, and Republicans is that Republican going to say, or Democrat, whatever, going to say no? I'm not signing it just because this is in here. Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many other stuff that guy wants or girl wants that is in the bill that they're going to sign it and kind of give that. So. The problem with it, like I said, is it hasn't been raised since forever from 750. And is the 2 million a realistic jump? It is. Are customers already asking for it? They are. So what I do see,
okay.
Yeah, customers are already. I mean, Niagara Water is asking for more than that. My customer is asking for more than that. My customer for oversize wants 5 million. And so trust me, that's an outrageous one. So even like minimum wage is not $15 an hour right now, correct?
Correct.
But try finding a job that pays less than $15 an hour. Because of everything that's happened, we've already reached the point of $15 an hour jobs without a minimum wage of $15 an hour. So I do believe that eventually customers and brokerages and stuff are going to implement that insurance levels already, because like I said, my direct customers are asking for it. 2 of them are asking for it, and there are others that are asking for it also. So it's coming either by law or by customer demand, but it's definitely coming.
Well, I want to say then that that's the reason why I asked that, because I guess it was a twofold question, by the way.
Okay.
Well, just remind me, it's about the rates, okay? I'm going to answer KJ's question. Can you drink too much water? Is that a myth?
I know the answer.
We'll go for it.
Yes, you can actually drink too much water. There was actually a radio challenge that was done. I can't remember how long ago. Do you remember that?
No.
There was actually a radio challenge done that it was how much water can you drink, and she died from drinking too much water. I'd have to look that up. Hang on. Go ahead.
You go ahead and look it up, because I was going to give my answer. And I'm not going to change it. My answer was yes, but there is a big but. The odds and even chances of people like us doing it is very like minute. And the reason why I'm saying is because if you're just drinking, like you guys see me, I'm almost done here by now. But if you're just drinking water as you go to replenish yourself or, you know, to prevent dehydration, that's just no. But if you said intentionally, if I decided that I'm going to drink, you know, 4 of these today, and I just wanted to go down as many as I could, as fast as I could, and, you know, where your stomach get real bloated, and just keep going, and you start throwing up and all this nonsense, then that's where I'm getting to the yes. I'm assuming whatever he's finna find is someone who was doing some kind of competition or challenge.
A California woman who died after participating in a radio station drinking contest. She hopes she wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom. She had to drink as much water as she could for a Nintendo game, and she died because that was the challenge. So you can, it's in how that you allow that water to leave the body. Basically,
Right.
like you said. Yeah,
you know, that remind me of like anything of too much of anything can harm you.
Absolutely.
like I was talking about potassium. I'm sure if you go look up some, you have way too much potassium in your system, there can be some that could, you know, there'll be a problem there. Getting back to the rates. So
yep, my
natural assumption now, as you just said, you had something that's going on already with your customers, shippers. Will we get paid more? Because
yeah, this is an interesting one. Go ahead.
Well, that's really it, because they're raising the insurance rates, because I have noticed when the diesel is lower, they try to pay less in general. I'm talking about the average spot market stuff. I'm not talking about, you know, and
right.
Then when the diesel go up, you know, that's one of those, well, hey, I mean, the guys can't do it for that no more. Diesel is blah, blah, blah. So that's my question.
Okay. So rates are solely based technically on, I don't care what you say about fuel, but they're technically solely based on supply and demand. Okay.
Agree 100%.
Fuel is consistent with a contracted rate, where when I negotiate a contracted rate, I negotiate a couple things. And this is where drivers are going to start to get upset at me. Just so you know, you're going to get upset at me. Okay. So when I negotiate a contracted rate, some of the things that I negotiate for is obviously a fuel surcharge. So let's just use simple math. Let's say I say $2 a mile plus fuel surcharge. The fuel surcharge comes up every Tuesday, and if it's 25 cents, it's $2.25, and you know, and so on and so on. One of the other things I negotiate when I negotiate with a customer, and you've probably seen this, is preferred treatment at loading and unloading, meaning I'm have preferential treatment. So you've probably seen this where you've been sitting there in line and one truck goes right by you and gets loaded way before you and then leaves before you. That's part of my negotiation. So when I go into a customer, I say, look, if you want me to give you this rate, or you might not happen, but a lot of van drivers, you'll see, like, you'll pull up to a door and doors 1 and 2 are completely empty, and doors 3, 4, 5, 6 are loaded, and they'll tell you, you got to wait until door 4 pulls out. You're like, why don't I just back into door 1? Well, door 1's for me. So you know, door 1 and 2 has been negotiated for me. So when when my trucks go in, they go right into door 1 or door 2. They get unloaded right away. They get loaded and they leave. So this is some of the stuff that contracted rates. I also look at when I negotiate rates. But it's basically, so let's throw that out. But supply, everything else with spot market, I don't care about fuel surcharge. I don't care if it's just how much to get me a truck. How much is a truck going to cost? Now, if right now, when it comes to insurance, the bigger people that are forcing that up are not giving me extra money for insurance. They're allowing me the opportunity to haul their freight. Okay, I know it sucks. I'm just going to be honest. People are going to stop dropping off, or they're going to come rushing in here and start trolling us. But they don't care about that price of insurance, because you don't care about their cost of taxes on their building. You see what I'm saying? So at that point, they're looking at how much is this shipment going to cost. That's your job. If you start saying, well, I need more for insurance, they're going to say, well, I need to pay less because of taxes gone up. You see what I'm saying? So at that point, it's just about how much do I need to move this load for? So it falls back to supply and demand. If there are more trucks than loads, cheap. If there are more loads than trucks, expensive. Because I want to take you instead, so that you don't haul that guy's freight before mine. So that is basically where freight prices go up. It is not based on, technically, unless fuel shoots up to like $7 a gallon, it's different. You know what I'm saying? But it's not going to be based on the insurance cost. It's not going to be based on anything. It's going to be based on supply and demand. It doesn't matter what the insurance cost is. If there is 17 loads and one truck, woo, lots of money to the truck driver, because it's basically tell me who's going to pay me the most. But if there's 17 trucks and one load, does it really matter how much the insurance is? You can either somebody's going to take that load. There's only one load. So it's solely based, and this is where it can kind of confuses people a lot with fuel. Now, prices go up with fuel a little bit and stuff like that. But with insurance, you're not going to see a lot of bump on your rates because of insurance, especially not now. Because right now, just remember, we are at an all-time high for freight because of the supply and demand of COVID and everything else that's going on. And I do a lot of videos. I'm going to be doing a video explaining that probably tomorrow morning. A lot of stuff that's going on.
Hold on, guys. And that's why y'all, if like I said, if this is your first time seeing Sage, which I would be surprised because the man do his thing. But if it's your first time seeing him, go follow him. Go follow his channel because of what he just told you. All this great information. He just said he's going to make a video explaining something he's finna get into right now. So I need to catch it too. Let's go.
Okay. So basically what's going on now is that when we shut down, China was not shut down. So they were pumping out goods. Well, they shipped containers over here by boats. So those containers were emptied and sitting in the port with no one to move them. So they were filled. Okay. Now we had no one to fill those containers to send anything back. So those containers they're paying high dollars to send them back empty rather than to fill them. There is such a shortage of containers because the containers were not being emptied by countries as China was pushing stuff out, that containers which were normally like $2,000 could end up being $20,000 for a container that used to be $2,000. Problem is that's going to cause major inflation. And I've got a clip from an actual shipper that was in an interview. And sometimes I bring on shippers and brokers. I brought in a 3PL guy. So I bring in a bunch of people in. He basically said at $6,000 a container, he's done shipping. He's just not even going to ship freight anymore. He can't afford to ship freight. So their shippers are going to be reaching a point that the cost of shipping, they're just going to say, we're going to hold off. We can't afford to ship this. I'm not making any money and I can't go in the hole shipping this freight. So all this high dollar freight that's out there right now, it's in your best interest to find direct customers and be able to do it for $3 a mile, because as it shoots for $5 a mile and more, shippers are eventually going to stop shipping freight because they can't afford it, which are going to drive prices down because there's going to be less freight out there. And this is why you're also seeing some companies are just going to be like, okay, anybody want to buy my company? And so some of these smaller companies are going to be selling to some of these bigger companies. And it's going to end up being where the bigger companies take over the smaller company, just like my company did. The company that I work for, they were having a problem shipping out of Washington. They bought a whole bunch of companies. And when they bought the company out of Washington, they were having a problem. They shut that company down and shifted all that freight to Texas rather than have them in Washington. So they shut that company down. So all the shipping that was coming out of there got shuffled down to Texas. So that, all those guys that were shipping there were out basically of jobs, for local runs and stuff that they were doing. And because they had to combine, they could not afford the cost of that plant and the shipping prices. So they decided to go with Texas, which are sometimes cheaper freight coming out of Texas because Texas has got so much freight. I'm sorry, so many trucks and stuff like that. Usually it's outbound out of Texas isn't the best pricing sometimes, as you know. They're hoping for that. So we're actually reaching a point now where shippers are now trying to find ways to lessen the freight. And if they don't, they're probably going to stop shipping. They're just not going to be able, they're just going to have to hold off and wait and tell people, sorry, we're out of stock. And that's what we see a lot of too, out of stocks. You start to see more out of stocks for parts, out of stocks for this, out of stocks for that, because at some point people just won't pay. Like, what's your process? Like, if there's a repair for your truck, at what point will you just not pay for the repair? Right. At some point, you're just not going to buy a trailer. At some point, you just can't afford to pay $50,000 for an engine rebuild. You know, at some point, there's a point that you just can't afford to pay for that. And that's going to reach the guys who have less money first, and then slowly starts to creep up on everybody else. And I see us kind of reaching that point that where now shippers are basically saying, look, I got to get this from China to here, but I sell fasteners. I sell screws, little screws. I can't pay $20,000 for, because a container can usually hold like 36,000 pounds in it. Plus the container, that equals somewhere around 40. You know, that's a container. So I can't afford to pay $20,000 for 36,000 pounds of screws, because now each screw is about 50 cents more just for the ocean shipping. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. How much, you know, so I'm talking bolts. But just for that one bolt or a pound of bolts, which, you know, might not be that much, it's 50 cents more than it used to be. Compared to 10 cents, it's 50 cents or 60 cents just for the ocean shipping on top of the trucking shipping. So at some point, people are going to stop buying things because they're too expensive. At some point, if you go to a store and your shirt is $50 for a shirt, you're like, I don't need a shirt that bad. That's the point we're starting to reach, is how people are now starting to ask, how much will I pay for that? And that's not what you want. When people start to say that, it becomes, they really go into saving mode, because my fault. Sorry. That was my talk timer. He talked too much at that. No, just kidding. So that's kind of what people we're now starting to reach, is that point where shippers are now saying, I don't have the money in this. I have customers right now that are saying, well, we don't have the money in this to ship this project. We don't have the money. We're going to hold it. They're going to have to wait, or they're going to have to pay more. And now the receivers are saying, well, we're not paying more. Well, we're not shipping it. I have one customer that's basically in a fight with the receivers. I mean, I'm not included, but they're supposed to ship it. And they basically said, we don't have the money for the budget to ship this. The pricing for the trucking is way over our budget, and we don't have it. So now it's cheaper for them to default on the project than pay the shipping. And that's kind of the stuff I'm starting to see. And if I'm only one broker with, you know, this is only one customer, but if it's happening to me, it's got to be happening to other people. And that's why which it is. There are people that are now saying it's just too expensive to ship it. I can't ship it. I don't have the money to ship it. Let's see, I can either pay, you know, Susie here or I can ship this. Can't do both. And that's kind of the point that some of these guys are reaching.
Well, that was a lot, man. And you know, that what you were saying kind of reminded me of the housing market. It kind of reminded me of
right.
It kind of reminded me of what may happen. Well, no, it's probably gonna if the law changes where, you know, you got your own authority, you got to pay more. Right. That may happen there too. Because I remember a few years back, guys coming in with their own authority. They called them a new venture.
Yes.
The race was so prohibitive for them, they just said they can't afford it. They can't.
Right. And you're right. And Don, I mean, you're right with the housing market. It's the same thing that happened with the housing market. And the housing market banks got bailed out. And then the automotive, they got bailed out. Who are they going to bail out? You know, and they have started with and I'll end on this one after this, but they have started with they basically Biden went into the ports and talked to the rail and to shipping containers and said, hey, you guys can't charge detention to the shippers. You can't charge detention. It's not fair. It's, you know, and so now they're in a fight, basically arguing over detention, because containers, there was a charge for you not picking up your container because it's sitting in the port for 10 days. Either get it out of here or you're going to charge you storage. And they basically said you can't do that. At some point, somebody's going to have to step in, and they're going to they're going to want to fix the supply chain, which is what we have now.
Okay. Well, I'll let you give your closing statements. And
close. I appreciate everybody being on here. I had a great time being on. Thanks for having me on. Check out my channel. Check out my community page, The Great Freight Sage Logic. My community page has a ton of articles and stuff like that. Also, you got to get the lean trucker gear. I got mine. So I ain't just telling you to get it if I ain't got it. Of course, the best one is the green with the red, and that's the Sage hat right there. That's the Great Freight Sage. So anybody who wants to sponsor me has to get this color right here. But these are actually really nice hats. I'm a very picky hat person. But he's got shirts and stuff like that, and it just helps support the channel, helps support him, helps motivate him to do more. And that's the truth. It helps motivate us to keep creating and keep giving out the information and keep doing what we do. So besides that, thanks for having me on, and I'll end it here, or I'll go on forever.
All right, man. I really appreciate you. And like he said, y'all go follow him. And what he said is real, though, because like even going live, it's like I remember talking to Dirty Broken. I said, hey, man, sometimes because we're still human and you're trying to, you got the stuff that you sometimes just want to do. Like literally, Sage could have been like, man, I just feel like relaxing today. I don't feel like, I don't mind watching, but I don't feel like as far as actually being on talking anything. So yeah, any kind of, especially, that supporting, that's financial support, buying anything from the from a website, theleantrucker.com. Yeah, that's just support on that end. But even on the things like he said, just sometimes people just thanking you. Well, it's not really about a thank you, but letting you know they're getting something out of it. I guess more, that's what I'm really trying to say. Just letting you know they're getting something out of it and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm gonna do my closing because I don't know if Sage got one yet. Keep it in mind. It's actually right here. Check this out. Well, no, it's the other one. It's your boy Lean Trucker back with another. But anyway, keep it in mind. Stay on the grind, one day at a time. Salute.
Salute. See ya.
Let me see.